Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning back in. Welcome back to Knee to Knee. We're very excited to have with us officially. I think it's Coach Kim Giles.
Yeah.
If I look at all my research and everything, well, um, a little bit about Kim. I've got a little intro, and you can correct me if
Okay.
you can. Right?
Okay.
All right. So, Coach Kim is a master life coach, a speaker, and the creator of the 12 Shapes Relationship System, helping people and teams solve relationship challenges for over 25 years. She is recognized as a top advice guru. And one of the things I found, not part of what I wrote here, is one of the top 20 advice gurus in the US by Good Morning America. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, that is so cool. Um, and so, top advice guru and author of Choosing Clarity, Kim transforms people skills with practical science based tools and a reputation for empathy and clarity. How's that?
Wonderful. Thank you.
I know when I was first doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's other stuff in here. Everybody should know. 50 articles. Wow. Nice. And she has a couple of books, and it's amazing.
Well,
So
thanks.
we're super happy to have you here. The focus is, those of you that have tuned in before, you know that one of the things that we really want to focus on is real life experiences and stories that actually help us with connecting and solving problems. So we always want to talk about, here's some of the struggles that we might be having, and then here's 2 or 3 things that actually will really work well. But here's the one thing that you can do today when we get wrapped up. This is the one thing today that you can do to help with whatever you're struggling with and whatever you're working on. And this is part of the reason why I'm super excited to have Kim with us, because she's a master life coach. So Kim, did I miss anything?
No, no. I'm just excited to be here. This is my favorite topic. So I'm excited.
So tell me, I mean, we've spoke a little bit. We've talked a couple times, once or twice on the phone is all, and we've
Mhm.
shared a couple of emails back and forth. What about Knee to Knee actually spoke to you, that you said, I need to be on here to share your message?
Well, my mission is it and I realize it's a big one, but it's to create a more tolerant and accepting world where we allow other people to be different from us. Because in my experience, all of our conflict with other people is over differences. It's all it
Oh yeah.
is. So I'm just going to give you an example we're going to play with. I had a couple
Okay.
recently who got in a huge fight, almost on the verge of divorce, over the sponge on the sink.
Oh no.
And what it is the wife had been asking the husband over and over and over to please squeeze it out and set it up above the sink so it can dry, not leave it all soggy and mushy in the bottom of the sink. And once
Makes sense.
again, she finds the sponge in the sink left wet and gross, and she just loses it, and she just rips him to shreds over the fact, I've asked you, and they had this big fight. And the magic of my program, the 12 Shapes Relationship System, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about it, because what's really unique, it looks a lot like a personality test. You haven't taken the quiz yet, have you?
Yes, I have. And I've got the results pulled up on another screen right now.
Okay, I want to know what shape you are. Okay, so a lot of people, it feels like a personality test, but this is a
It
whole
did.
new people science. This is not based on your personality at all. It's a behavior profile, and it's actually based on your fears and your value system, because our fears and our values are actually what drive all of our behavior. And they're in play every time we're in conflict. They're the biggest thing that we have different from other people is our value system. So let me give you an example. So the wife in my story about the sponge, she's somebody who highly values cleanliness and order and things done right. And it's a very high value for her, this
Yes.
systemic idea of doing things right the first time and having things clean and in order. Well, she married this really sweet man whose value system is just a little different. He doesn't really care about how clean things are. He really values connection and relationships and empathy and caring for others. That's his highest value system. So sometimes he rushes through washing the dishes because he wants to get back to connecting with people. He doesn't care that much because he just doesn't value the same things that she values. Now, one of the problems with these differences in values is we each have a tendency to think our value system is the right one,
Yeah. So true. So
right?
true.
What's wrong with these other people that they don't see the world the way I do? And so we have a tendency to see them as bad or wrong. And the other thing that happens is when there's a difference, it often triggers our fear. We often feel threatened by a difference. We assume, well, somebody has to, if two things are different, one has to be better and one is less.
Right.
And we want ours to be the right one. And so they're a threat to us being right if they're different. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
So fear, I found through my 30 years of research on this, fear triggers actually override your love and your values. When we may be a very kind, caring person, but when we feel threatened, the claws can come out because we're now defending our safety and protecting our self-esteem and our quality of life. And I know when this wife lost it over the sponge, she felt like he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care about what's important to me. He
Right.
doesn't care if this makes more work for me. So she literally felt threatened for her quality of life, that she's not important. It fear triggered her. And in that moment, she felt defensive and justified ripping his head off for being different than her.
Sometimes it's those stories that we tell ourselves, we fill in the blanks around what's really going on in the world, but then we fill in these blanks, we make these assumptions that, oh, this is what they're feeling, this is what they're thinking. And apparently with this man, he wanted to get back to connecting and she wanted the dry sponge. And so that the conflict, yeah.
Yeah. And so the answer when we have conflict is to get knee to knee and have a conversation, but we have to do it the right way. We have
Right.
to do it from love and not fear, first of all. Because if we have the conversation from fear where we're defensive and we're in protect mode of ourselves, it's going to be all about us and what we need. And our love is kind of out the window for actually caring about them. And we also, we lose our ability to want to understand them because we're just in protect mode. Does that make
Right.
sense?
It does, it does. I'm flashing back to, the 7 Habits book, seek first to understand, then be understood habit, right? So that
Absolutely.
came to mind right as you're talking to I'm like, yeah, because we can't understand, we don't unless I'm really listening to where that person is and where they're coming from, not from an aspect of, I'm right, you're wrong, but
Wanting to
really listening to them,
understand
yeah.
them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
especially if this is your partner, this is somebody that you love and care about. So, a couple things need to happen before you have a conversation. And it's not that you can't
Okay.
have another conversation about asking him to do the sponge the way you want. You can, but you got to do a couple things first. First of all, you have to recognize that you may be wired different and that
Mhm.
his wiring isn't less good or wrong. It's just different from yours. And this goes for all human beings. We all have these differences. Some are messy, some are clean, some are organized, some are more motivated and driven, some aren't. And you know what? There's pros and cons to both in every situation. So I know the one who highly values order and cleanliness really feels like her way is the right way and being messy's wrong. But these people who are messy, who spend more time connecting and caring and doing other things, there's pros to being that way. There's
Right.
pros and cons. It's just different. So we have to get out of this judgment mindset of seeing people as better or worse A matter of fact, when we get to you asking me the number one thing that I want people to take away today,
Yes. Uh-huh.
it's going to be the core principle of the 12 shapes is that all of us as human souls have the same exact intrinsic value. We have the same worth
Yep.
and value, and that value can't change. That means no matter how much money you make or how good you look or whatever you do, you don't have more worth than any other soul on the planet. Our human lives have the same worth, but we're different, right? We're just different. We're wired different. We value different things.
Right.
Make different choices, but our value is the same. And before you have a conversation with someone over a conflict, you have got to get to where you see them as different, not the bad one. Because if you go
Right.
into the conversation at all talking down like they're the bad one and you're the right one, they're going to get defensive and then this isn't going to go well.
What comes to mind is years ago when I first started doing sales as a living, and because I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
And years ago, I'm just learning, and I'm struggling through this and trying to figure all this stuff out. My folks were very, very successful in sales, and I was very fortunate to pull both of my parents aside and say, "Okay, there's going to come a time where I ask you to take your mom or your dad hat off, and I'm going to ask you to be a mentor." Just to help me understand this process. And
Yeah.
I remember one particular day I called my father, and he was actually in Alaska on a business trip. And I called and I'm like, "Do you have a minute?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "I'm stuck outside the office because there's a moose in front of the door." I'm like, okay, we don't hear that every
It's
day.
in Alaska.
And so he had a couple of minutes while we're waiting for this moose to leave. And he said, "What's going on?" And I asked him about making those connections when you're going in to sell. How do you help people to feel relaxed? And he gave me a piece of advice to this day I still use, and I think it applies here as well. He says, in that moment, when I'm in front of that customer, before I go in, I already have that feeling in my mind and my heart that right now, this person in front of me is the most important person to me. So when I
Right.
sit down with them and when I talk with them, he said, the whole feeling changes because now I'm there to offer something because my heart is in the right place when I'm talking to them. So when you said that a minute ago, I'm like, oh, this is dad saying that person that you're having this knee to knee conversation with at that moment needs to be that level of an important person to
So you're really talking about showing up with love and empathy
you.
and caring for them. And the problem is that when you're fear triggered, you are
Yes.
so in defense mode that you
Those aren't the
lose your
feelings that you're
ability
in.
to do that. You do. So one of the things I have to teach my coaching clients is first, you have to remind yourself that though they may have disregarded you at some point, your value is still the same as theirs and everybody else's. No one can diminish your value. You're safe. You're okay. And this experience that you're having with them is just a classroom. It's a classroom of life opportunity for you both to grow and learn. And you're actually not in danger. You're not you're
Right.
not threatened here. You're okay. You're safe. And when you remind yourself that you're safe, you can get access to that love again. So you can
Yep.
then decide that I'm going to go to them. Now, if they're the most important person when you have that conversation, then you never want to start out with, "So you did this and this really pissed
No,
me
no.
off."
Oh, let's throw that back in the pond.
No, we don't want to start there. We want
No.
to start asking them some questions. Like,
Okay.
tell me what goes on because we've talked about the sponge thing and how much why it's important to me. And you keep leaving it in the sink, but I want to understand what goes on with you. Do you just forget? Like, are you in a hurry? What happens? Where are you with it? And this is not coming from judgment. It's coming from wanting to understand because I have a tendency to want to take it personally. And think, I think that's an assumption on my part because I don't really know where you are.
Right.
And we need to ask about their intent. Like I have a tendency to take that as you don't care about me. Is that what you mean? And give them a chance
Yeah,
to tell you where they are.
yes, yeah, because more than likely the husband did not feel that way.
Right? It was
You
something
know?
else, and it had to do with the way he's wired different.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me what shape you are when you took the quiz.
You're just waiting. You're just
I'm
like, "Okay,
dying.
I'm an arrow."
Oh my gosh, you're the same shape as me.
Okay.
I'm an arrow too. Okay, so let me tell you the magic thing about taking the quiz. And I have to tell
Okay.
you, the first question most people ask me after they find out what shape they are, they say, Is that a bad one?" Because the truth is that all of us feel a little bit broken, like we need to be better or different than we are to be quite good enough. We see our faults, right? And the truth is that all of us, no matter how you're wired, there's pros and cons to being wired that way.
Right?
We have strengths, we have weaknesses. We just have different ones than other people have. So we look at
I
theirs
was
and we
thinking the
go,
I was
oh,
thinking the only one that would be bad would be the black hole.
the black hole, there's not a black hole.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The only one that would be bad is mine bad only if you're a black hole.
No, the really wonderful thing is that every human being, no matter how they're wired, has a superpower. They have
Yep.
amazing strengths, and then they have bad behaviors that only show up when they're fear triggered. Really, it's the only time. So, did you read a little bit about arrows?
I did. I did. I actually have the PDF up in front on
Up
my
in
other
front of
screen right
you.
now too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's cool about arrows is our value system, we're very task driven.
Yes.
So we're very get things done oriented, and we highly value our freedom and independence. We often like to be our own boss because we're really independent, but we love a challenge. We love achieving things. A lot of times we're into sports or activities. Do you run or do you have any outlet physically that you're into?
At this point, I did share that video with you. You'll see a lot there that'll answer that question more.
Okay.
But right now, what I do is because I can't do running and those kind of things, you'll understand when you watch that video. Um, is I go to the gym and I lift weights and those things I can do. So there's an outlet for me. I've been lifting weights since my early 20s. So, it's just
And do
one of
you
those.
just need that time to go do that on a regular basis? It like helps your mental health.
And my wife will be the first one to attest to that. You need to get back to the gym. She recognizes that I'm different mentally. My mental health is better when I'm consistently at the gym.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so some funny things because we overvalue doing, we sometimes can undervalue the we value our relationships. We love our people, but we sometimes get so focused on getting things done that we forget to give them enough attention. I've had my kids say, "Mom, I came in your office and I stood in front of you and I told you this." And I have no memory of it whatsoever because I was doing other work at the same time. And we have a tendency to not be as good socially as some of the other shapes are. They like live they want to be with people all the time and they love long conversations, and we kind of like time alone and
I've had to learn after my accident, and that video will explain a little bit.
yeah.
For those of you that don't know, remember last week we released a new video that kind of covers. It was a fun one, but after my accident, I had a traumatic brain injury, and so that makes it so that I really have to, instead of distraction, I have to make certain that, and I catch myself, put it down, put it away, and my wife and I actively go and say, "All right, our phones are on do not disturb." So we can shut everything out and it's just us, because otherwise, if we don't do that, exactly what you're saying, you just run along, and my introvert side of me after so long gets to where, which is funny. I do a podcast and I do public speaking, but I'm an introvert. And,
You're an arrow.
but
That's exactly
after
us.
those things, after I get done with those things, I'm always just like, "Ooh, okay." You know?
So, the more that you learn about arrows, the more you settle in, and this goes for everybody. When you go take the quiz, and I hope it's the one thing you'll do, it's free, and what it's gonna show you is that you're not broken, that you are an exactly normal rectangle or oval or heart or whichever shape you are, you're exactly a normal one, and that all those things that you see as faults, the things you're not good at, are just are just normal, and honestly, they're usually flip sides of your talent and your gifts and the magic that you bring to the world. I talked
Yeah,
to actually a little girl today who has cerebral palsy and is in a wheelchair, and she just took the quiz and found out she's a heart. And she said to me, I've always thought I was kind of broken because I cry a lot. I feel things so deeply. When I hear about other people who are in pain, it like hurts me so bad that I struggle with depression. And I was explaining to her, you're just a normal heart. All hearts feel things this deeply. You have your gift is empathy. Your
yeah,
superpower is empathy. And you can go two ways with it. You can focus um on the pain, or you can focus on the love that you have for people and sharing that and giving that and being a force for love in the world. I love everybody to take the quiz and find their shape and find their superpower, find their magic, so that you know once and for all that you're enough. You're just wired different than other people. So they have strengths you don't have, but you have strengths
right.
they don't have.
And we'll make certain that we're gonna have the link for that down in the show notes so that, in the description so they can pop down, just click on that and jump over and do that quiz. It doesn't take very long. I think it was 12 or 13 minutes total, and I didn't rush.
Yeah. You
Um,
did it slow. I've had people do it in like 5 minutes, so it depends on what
well, I
shape
have a
you are, how
tendency
much time you take.
I have a tendency to go, and I automatically read slower than the average person anyways. It's just one of those things that I have. But it's like there's a comprehension factor that I want to make sure I have right. And so
Good.
I'm reading it going, that one. Okay. We go to the next one. So yeah, it only took a few minutes, but it wasn't too bad. And it was interesting to have that pop back over and I'm gonna dive into it even more. So yeah, it's been kind of an interesting different take on what we see a lot of those personality profiles, whether it's strength finders or
Yeah.
color code or whatever. This is a interesting take on the whole thing that is fascinating.
Well, I think the reason you will like it is that a lot of them, you take them and you learn cool things about yourself, and that's great. But this is a relationship system. So the real magic is learning what shape the people around you are.
Uh-huh.
When you find out your spouse and your children and the people you work with, and you understand what shape they are, you understand how they're wired, you're going to learn a couple important things. First, you're going to learn how their values are different than yours, and you'll suddenly have so much more compassion and tolerance for those differences because you're going to go, oh, well, they're just wired that way. It's not what's wrong with them. It's now I get it why they do that. It's just being wired different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're going to also learn their core fear. So you and I being arrows, our core fear is fear of failure, that we're not good enough. Does that resonate with you like it
Yeah,
does for me?
it does. I hate to
You
admit it, but
can you
yeah.
get in your head sometimes about not being enough?
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's one of those things. I'll be the first to say I'm announcing this to the world. I made a goof with my car a couple weeks ago, and it was really interesting. I travel a lot, so I mean, I never know when I'm going to be coming and going, those kind of things. But when I travel, I'm using a rental car, so I'm fueling up and fueling up and fueling up. And I came back into town and went to fuel up my car, and my car is a diesel,
Okay.
and I put regular fuel in it.
Oh no. What does that
Now,
do?
oh, well, if you run your car, you've destroyed the engine. But I caught myself before I ran it, but I'd filled the entire tank up with regular fuel. It was super expensive to get all cleaned out and everything done, but it got done. And it was interesting. when we talk about never, struggling with that, am I enough, those kind of things, is I was literally kicking my own fanny. I was doing more beating myself up than anybody could give me. And I remember, my wife Victoria, she said, "All right, I know where your brain is. Don't beat yourself up over this because I know where you are right now."
Yeah.
Because it spun right into that mode of, "Oh my gosh, really? Come on." I mean, how long have I've driven diesel vehicles off and on, a good chunk of my life, and I've had this one for years, and really? You're gonna put regular fuel in it?
So I
Fortunately, I
have
didn't
I
start
have
it.
good news for you, Mark. It didn't change your value.
No, it didn't.
Still have the same value as every other human on the planet.
Yep.
Um, you guys, if there's one thing I could tell you that you should teach your kids right now, your grandkids, whoever, anybody in your life, it's this idea that our value as a human being can't change because we are subconsciously programmed from the world with this idea that human value is earnable. If I do well and I lose weight and I make money, then I have more value than other people. And if I make dumb mistakes or I gain weight or I lose my job, I feel less than other people. And it's a mental
Yeah.
construct. It's all it is. You
It
have
is. Yeah.
power to decide that human value is an unchangeable thing. And we've done it at my house to the degree that if I drop a glass in the kitchen and it shatters into a million pieces, one of my kids will yell from the other room, "Mom, that didn't change your value." Because they know too that this is
Yeah.
what we do, and we get into all this comparing with other people,
Yep.
right? And the number one thing I can tell you that if you want to learn how to really love yourself, which will improve all your relationships, the more that you love yourself, right?
Right.
The secret is giving up judgment of other people. So, what you want to
Mhm.
do is you want to start seeing other people who are doing dumb things that you usually judge people for, or faults or flaws that usually you judge. And you want to stop yourself and you want to say, you know what? They're different. They're wired different. They still have the same value. And I'm going to have compassion for them and let them be different but the same. The more that you do that to other people and you give them infinite, unchanging value, the more you're going to feel it for yourself. And when you do something dumb, you're going to know, oh, phew, it doesn't change my value.
Yep. Yeah. Well, oh my gosh. I was just looking at how long we have spun through so quickly. I have so enjoyed our conversation. I would love to have you back on another time.
I would love to.
We try and keep things around that 25-minute mark, somewhere in there, because going too long is
It's harder for people to listen.
it's hard. And so we want to keep them shorter if we can. But I would love to have you come back because you've shared some amazing insights, at least from my end, right? And I hope our listeners can feel the same way. I will have the show notes, like I say, the link for that. And I'm also going to put in um links to your books as well. And so I'd like to be
That'd be
able to make
awesome,
sure that's there
especially
for you,
the new
Kim.
one, How Humans Are Wired,
Yes.
all about the 12 shapes.
Yeah, we'll make sure that's in there as well. And so thank you again, Kim.
Thank you.
This has been a fun conversation, and I sure appreciate you spending time with us. And don't forget to check the show notes, click the link, run over and do the shapes quiz. It's an interesting, and I think you'll find some really fun stuff in there. And so thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you next week on our next episode of Knee to Knee.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.